Hi everyone, I'm Karen Williams, I'm the book mentor, and I'm delighted to be here today with Nick Fewings. We are going to be talking about this book, Team Lead Succeed. I'll give you a few headlines. It was launched in March 2022. It's got 33 reviews on Amazon. It's been read by leaders all around the world, and I know you've got a long list, Nick, of places where your book has gone. And it was also recently featured in my video, 15 Ways to Massively Grow Your Business by Writing a Book. So, Nick, thank you so much for being here today. And I know you were interviewed by Cheryl roundabout, I think it's a little bit before the book was published. And
That's right.
I've followed your journey. I know the successes you've had, but recently you were sharing some of the successes you've had with your book. And I thought it'd be great to bring you back on an interview and talk about what's happened since your book has been published. So thank you for joining me today.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for the invitation.
So the first question I'd like to ask you is for those people who don't know you, haven't seen your journey that I've shared, or the video you did, the interview you did with Cheryl. Tell us a bit about your book and why you wrote it.
Okay, my book, Team Lead Succeed, I wrote it because, as you see on screen, I call myself a team workologist. So for 30 odd years, I've worked with teams all over the globe, helping them to achieve greater success with their teamwork. And also, as part of that, I've spoken at over 500 conferences as well. And on a regular basis, people would come up to me at the end of the day or the end of the conference presentation and say, "Loved what you've done. Have you got a book?" And my answer was always no, because I just didn't have the time to sit down and focus to write the thing. So I had lots of ideas, lots of information that I could put into a book, but just didn't have the time. And when COVID hit, that was a great opportunity, the pandemic and the lockdown. So that's when I started it. So the reasons were a number. The reason, first of all, was that I've been asked many times to write a book. Secondly, I wanted to give team members a voice. There's lots of books out there that are focused on leadership. However, if you work as part of a team, you should have a voice as well. So I thought if I could write a book which explained more about teamwork for team members, then they would find it of value as well, and may be able to speak up in team meetings and say, look, I don't think this is working as effectively, and I've read it in this book. And then the third thing was I hit the big 6-0 in September, and therefore I wanted a legacy. I wanted to leave a legacy for the next generation of people that are leading teams or working as part of teams. So those were the three reasons.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times people find that there's a key moment, isn't there? For many, it was COVID. For many, it's a big birthday. I've got a big birthday coming up in a year or so's time, and it's amazing how things like that just trigger us into action because of that realization of leaving that legacy behind. I think for many of us.
Very much so. Yeah. It's and throughout my life, I've everything I've done in work, but also in my home life, it's all about helping people, helping other people. So I thought this is a great way of helping a lot more people that that I would be able to see on a one-to-one basis or in a group situation. Yeah.
So I remember we spoke, it must have been July 2 years ago, and you signed up for the Smart Author System. Where were you back then compared to where you are now?
Where was I? Well, in July when I spoke to you, I knew I wanted to write a book, but the key thing for me was I'd never written one before, so didn't have a clue what to do. And because I always like to do things to the best of my ability, I therefore needed to seek out expert advice and support. So that's why I signed up to your Smart Author System, which I found absolutely superb, because it gave me clarity of what I needed to do at every stage prior to publication, but also after publication as well. So it gave me that wonderful framework to be able to then start to map out my ideas, my thoughts of what the content of the book would be. So that was a big catalyst for moving me forward to where I am at this moment in time. So I would say to people, the key is seek expert advice. You're not going to know everything about how to write a book. So it's far better to invest in people that do, like yourself. And of course, as you know, I also invested in others along the journey. Somebody to edit the book and to design the interior of it, because it's not just going to have the content, it's got to look and feel good as well. Proofreading is essential because you will make mistakes, you get word blindness. So important there to have somebody to help you. And then it's all very well and good writing a book with great content, but then you've got to tell people about it. So I invested in some PR and marketing prior to the publication of it, which worked really, really well. So yes, I mean, from where I was all that time ago to where I am now, I've been on a fantastic journey, and I've learned so much as well, which is brilliant, because I love learning. I love learning about all sorts of different things.
Brilliant. So where are you now? What have been your biggest successes since launching your book in March 2022? So we're 5 months, almost 6 months on. So what's happened?
Yeah. Well, prior to publication, because the pre-publication PR that the company that I invested in had done, and also the PR that I'd done via LinkedIn and all my social media, when it was launched, it went bestseller on Amazon. Only for a short period of time, because Amazon change things on an hourly basis.
Yeah.
But it was lovely to be able to get that volume of pre-publication sales and get the banner on the book, if you like, which I managed to capture, which it was another great thing. And then from there, it literally just started to snowball. So I got invited to speak at European leadership conferences from people and organizations that I'd never come across before, but they'd seen details of my book. I've got a landing page on my website, which I put all the traffic through. And of course, what it does is it shows people about the book, but then they can have a look at other aspects of what I do in my business. So this organization, they read details of the book, they went to the website, then they saw that I was also a conference speaker. So I ended up speaking at a European leadership conference with 160 people, and they said, we not only want to pay you to speak, but we want to purchase 160 copies of your book. So that was fantastic, apart from the fact that the day before I was due to speak, the director of the conference rang me up and said, you're only 2 hours away from the conference venue. Is there any opportunity of you driving up early and signing all 160 copies of the book personally?
Oh my God, yes. Okay.
Yeah. So that was a bit of a nightmare, especially when you see that volume of books on a table, and you look to the left where the books are, and then you look to the right at how many you've actually signed, and you've still got a couple of hours of signing.
Wow. Okay. Okay. That's a big ask with that much notice anyway.
Yeah. So lots of conference speaking opportunities. I've also sold books into all the organizations that I've worked with, their teams. So now when an organization says to me they'd like me to come in and facilitate some teamwork, one of the optional extras is a signed copy of the book. And touch wood, to date, every organization that I've worked with has taken up that opportunity. I've got webinars coming out of my ears. I've got 10 webinars coming up between now and the end of the year, which again, that for me is a great marketing platform, because as part of the slides, I will put in reference to the book. But it also means that with webinars, I did one the other day for 200 people, so they were around the globe. So it also means that some of that will drive traffic back to me in terms of doing teamwork with them.
So these are webinars that you've been commissioned to do from other companies, I'm guessing, to obviously share with their audience.
That's right. And it's all been on the back of the book, because I've asked them, well, why have you come to me to run a webinar? So I've got 10 of those. I've got 6 face-to-face conferences coming up. I've taken on board 6 new clients who want me for face-to-face teamwork. I've had 2 articles published in major business magazines. I've got another one coming up fairly shortly, and I've also had about half a dozen reviews of the book in different magazines, either physical magazines or on the internet, so social media magazines. So the journey's been just incredible, and as you said, it's my wife came up with an idea to get people to share photos of the book where it's been. So it's been all over the globe. It's been to Alaska and the Dominican Republic and quite a few places in Europe. It's been to Fiji, North America, and I've just got somebody who's got a copy out in South America. So there'll be photos hopefully of that soon. So yeah, it's been an absolute blast, and each day just brings something new and exciting.
So do you wake up in the morning and check your LinkedIn or check your email, and you get something popped in there saying, "Hey Nick, I read your book. Can you go and do this for us?" Maybe not every day, but a lot of the time.
Yeah, on quite a regular basis. So the conference that I spoke at recently with 160 leaders. I'm just in the process of arranging to go to Zurich to work with a group of them out there, and also to Copenhagen where there's another group. So yeah, it's been incredible, and the fact that I had to look at the figures, and yes, I did invest quite a reasonable amount in the book to create it and to market it. And to learn how to write it. However, I got that return of investment back in about 3 months after publication.
Okay.
So yeah, it's certainly. I think you've got to put the effort in. You've got to get the right people on board. You've got to get the right experts. But if you do those things, and you've written a book that people want to read, then you can get that return on investment back reasonably quickly.
That's really great to hear that, because I know, talking figures, I think with many authors it becomes a bit like the elephant in the room, because people don't necessarily want to state what the figures are, but actually without you having the book, you can't serve more people, which enables you to leave that legacy and get your message out there and create the ripple effect, isn't it, at the end of the day? Because you know that one team member or even team leader reads your book, does something differently, that has an effect on more and more people. So that is gold dust in my view. And obviously the more you can get those emails in your inbox that say, Nick, come and deliver this webinar, deliver this conference, travel to Zurich, wherever, it means that you can make that bigger impact. And it works so well. I love it. I love how well it works when it's done well, as you say.
Yeah, it's like a ripple effect. The book, you throw the book into the middle of the pond, and it starts to ripple out. And to be honest, I've literally just touched the tip of the iceberg in terms of marketing it, because so much has gone on that I've had to sort of manage that, which a little bit has taken my eye off the marketing of it. However, my wife said the other day, it doesn't matter because your book's out there. She says
It's
you
doing
can
it for
pick
you,
up,
isn't it?
and she said you can pick up the PR and marketing again when it's a bit quieter. So I've literally scratched the surface. As an example, on LinkedIn, I've got over 5,000 followers. I went through and looked before the book was published. I looked at those who were most active on my posts and activities on LinkedIn. I had a short list of 750 people that popped up on a regular basis. I've still got another 300 of those to actually let them know about the book if they haven't seen it already. So, there's still those. There's still magazines that I want to get in contact with, organizations, universities, because they do business studies. So there's lots and lots that's still to do, but once it's out there, there's not so much of a time pressure then to keep doing it. So yeah, that's been interesting, and sort of diversifying away from Amazon. I know Amazon's the big marketplace. However, going down the self-publishing route, you can purchase the book yourself, and obviously from a profits wise perspective, it's a lot better. But I have found the great thing about Amazon is if you can do certain things, as you said, I've got 33 reviews on there, a lot of which are verified purchases. And again, you can use those to continue to market the book by, creating an image that says this is review number 1, this is number 2. But I must admit, Amazon, it's an interesting beast, and I would say to other people, yes, it's a must to have your book on there and to get some sort of traction, but just don't throw all your effort and energy into Amazon. Think about the bigger picture. Think about other things where you can market.
Well, definitely, because you can sell a few books on Amazon, you might make 10 quid, but actually if someone comes to you and says, can I purchase directly from you 160 books and can I pay you to do an event? That's where the magic happens, isn't it, really, in terms of you reaching more people, but also in terms of running the business as well, and actually being able to show up and do what you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
What would you say has worked best for you? I'm throwing in a couple of bonus questions that you don't know about, but what do you think? Is it LinkedIn? Would you say it's having a PR person? Or is it a combination?
I think it's a combination. I think it was really useful to invest in some PR and marketing to start off with, because again, they're experts. They, especially if they're experts in terms of promotion of a book, they will have the contacts that you haven't got. In terms of LinkedIn's been very good to me. I have invested in premium LinkedIn, which means that I can send emails to people that I feel that are relevant and might find the book of interest. I would say the key learnings for me throughout the journey: getting the experts on board, mapping things out. Don't be too harsh on yourself when the words don't flow. I took 2 months where I didn't write a thing. I'd imagine everybody gets writer's block. Just walk away from it and make sure that your well-being, your mental well-being is okay. And don't think that you have to do everything immediately. Be kind to yourself. The original deadline for publication was early February, so that slipped by a month, which in the scheme of things wasn't a massive thing anyway. But the key thing is if you've got the content, it will happen. You know, if you've got that passion inside you, it will happen at some point. Yeah, and tell people about it. You know, be proud of it. You know, it's yes, PR can help you, but at the end of the day, I quite often say to my wife, you know, the only people that blow your trumpet is yourself. You know, so get out there and be proud of it. I would say the other thing that I didn't cover, which I think is really, really important, is right at the very outset, even before you invest in experts, test your idea out with maybe 20, 30 people, because you may think that your ideas about writing a book are absolutely brilliant. You may go out to 20 or 30 people and they say, you know what, don't bother. You know, I was fortunate. I told people what it was about, the rough idea of the content, and they came back and said, fantastic. But yeah, don't you know, invest your time, money, and effort until you know that it's likely to be a success.
No, totally. And it's being able to refine that idea to be able to sell it effectively, whether you're selling it to to colleagues, to clients, to friends, to publishing house, whatever, isn't it? It's about being able to clearly articulate it in a way that people are going to go, oh, I get it.
Yeah, and take your book wherever you go. There's always opportunities. My wife and I went to Palma, Mallorca. I took the book with me just in case there were some photo opportunities. We ended up in the Hard Rock Cafe in Mallorca. I put the book down on the table. The waitress came up and took our drinks order, and then she came back excitedly. She said, I saw your book on the table. I love reading about teamwork. I went away into the back. She says, I searched on Amazon and realized you were the author. Initially she thought it was just a book I'd taken on holiday. So she went and bought a copy of the book, but because it arrived 3 days after we'd left, she asked me if I would write a personal note so she could stick in it when she got it.
Yeah.
That was, to see the joy on her face that I was the author of that book was just incredible. So we had our drinks, we had our meal, and then I could see her out of the corner of my eye, and she came back and she was really excited, but she said, I'm ever so sorry to trouble you, but she said, before you go, can I have some selfies with the book and you? And it was just a joy, you know, to see the joy on her face and what had happened to her. And I love the experience as well. I just thought it was quite surreal.
I think a lot of it is, yeah. I think you never know when you might bump into someone who goes, oh, I'm on, you know, I've got your book or something like that. It's amazing when it happens.
Yeah.
So what's next for you, Nick? What's coming up apart from 10 webinars and God knows how many talks and traveling that you're doing about your book? What's next for you?
Well, trying to work a little bit less. You know, as I said, I hit 60 in September, so I'm trying to reduce hours, so spend some quality time with my wife and our dog on a Monday and a Friday, so like extended long weekends. So not a lot of organizations actually want to do teamwork on a Monday or a Friday anyway, so that works quite well. So yeah, you know, my career is just sped by. I do not know where the last 40 years have gone. And, you know, I want to make sure that what's left, I actually enjoy and make the most of, you know, because at the end of the day, yes, you need money to put food on the table, and obviously for the heating bills now. However, the things that keep you warm in your old age are making memories with family, with partners, with friends. So, you know, I've had a couple of people that I know that sadly have passed on far too early in their lives. And therefore, I think it's really important for people to make memories and enjoy the moment, because you don't know what's around the corner.
No, definitely.
So yeah.
Any final words of wisdom before I wrap up this interview today?
Keep smiling. Keep smiling. It's throughout the journey of writing a book and publishing it, there are tough times, but keep positive. At the end of the day, it's only a book, so don't worry. It's not a matter of life and death. So keep smiling through those tough times, and just be passionate, and your passion will drive you to the end result that you want.
Brilliant. On that note, thank you so much, Nick. Thanks for joining me today.
Pleasure.